It's Michelangelo's birthday today, and I thought I'd revisit this old piece that I made some years ago. I'd gone down from Highland Perthshire, where I was living, to Oxfordshire to house sit, and I went to the Ashmolean for a day because I'd never been before. And my normal habit when I go to a new museum is to start on the top floor and work my way down. And so I did this at the Ashmolean. To my absolute astonishment, on the top floor there was a glass case, very thick glass, closely fitted round a bronze head. So I was immediately drawn to it. Being a sculptor, you look at the sculptures first. So, and I didn't know this existed. When I saw the label and it said Michelangelo, I thought, oh my goodness. And I looked to see who'd made it, when it was made. And it was done by his assistant, Daniele da Volterra, in 1564, I think. Da Volterra died in 66. So it was obviously a very old artifact. I was intrigued by it because it was clearly Michelangelo from the images we've already seen. There are some sketches and drawings of him that were some done by Da Volterra and some by other people. But what really confused me was that I didn't know if it was a life mask or a death mask. I could see immediately it was one or the other because there was a very clear seam to me between the front and the back of the face. The other thing was that all the proportions were absolutely 100% accurate and consistent with a living person rather than any kind of idealized artifact made to look vaguely symmetrical like people tend to do with portraits, whether they try or not. So I thought, well, I wonder what it is. So I went down to ask a bit more information about it and spoke to one of the curators, and to my astonishment, he said he hadn't noticed it. He didn't know it existed and didn't really know what it was talking about. So I found somebody else, and they too said, oh gosh, yes, I don't think anybody ever goes to see that. And so I asked if there'd be any chance of being allowed to study it, because that's one of the remits of the Ashmolean, is to facilitate study. They were at first wary, quite rightly, because this is such a precious thing. So I went back to Scotland and I wrote a proposal. I said, look, what I want to do is study it to find out more about how it was made, and I also wanted to not correct it, but I wanted to kind of fill the gaps in, because the eyes had been very perfunctorily modelled. They were neither completely open nor completely closed. The back of the head was very roughly modelled, and the ears were out of alignment. And I thought that was very strange, because if the ears had been where Da Volterra had put them, then Michelangelo's jaw would have been out of alignment, and that there's no record of that. There is a record of the famous broken nose. So I thought it would be nice to work on it and make a reconstruction and take it from there, see what I can learn from that. So I set about getting to the Ashmolean with my drawing books and measuring tape and camera, and I was greeted at the door and told under no circumstances would I be allowed to take my bag in with me. So I took my drawing books and things out, and they said, well, you can't take pens and pencils in there. And I said, well, I don't want to draw on him, I want to draw him. So once they understood why I needed to do that, they were very kind and let me in. They were even more kind when they realised I brought my own white gloves, and I brought some wooden calipers so I could take measurements without damaging the surface of the piece. So I took lots of measurements and lots of photographs, and then spent the day drawing. When I first went to art school, we were taught a few things, one of which was that the definition of sculpture was what you bumped into when you stepped back to look at the paintings. The other was that you've never really seen anything until you've drawn it. And I think that's absolutely true. Nobody scrutinises an artifact like an artist who's trying to draw it. It's through drawing that you get the true understanding, which kind of bypasses a lot of the verbal rationing that goes on between the hand and the brain. When you get to a certain state in your own competence, words go out of the picture, literally. Painters will know that as well as sculptors, that you get beyond words with your work, and you just need to look and do the work. So I made this piece. I opened his eyes up, I put the ears in the right place, and I did a little bit more modelling on the head. I didn't want to make it too different. I just wanted to bring him to life a bit more. I wanted the eyes to be open, and I think we've done that. So happy birthday, Michelangelo.